Welcome to Vita Ministry. I'm Cassandra Barbato, your host. Let's take just a few minutes to be nourished on God's Word. To not be confused and think that now, because they've been made right, perfectly righteous, perfectly perfect forever by the blood of Christ, that they should go and indulge in the flesh because it's no big deal now. Well, the problem with that is that everything that comes out of the flesh, the things that are a part of the dark kingdom, the kingdom where Satan is ruling, have sufferings attached to them. They don't bring good things. They don't bring the edification, the building you up. They don't bring prosperity. They don't bring profit. They actually make you a slave. You become attached to the things of the flesh when you indulge in them. And the Apostle Paul is encouraging them to correct their mindset. Not that he wants them to, and this is another important thing, not that he wants them to now, out of their own efforts, stop trying to do these things out of the flesh. That's not his perspective. What he's trying to do is correct their mindset, that they would now fully understand that only things that come out of God's kingdom have good things attached to them. Does that make sense? He's saying you want good things in your life. Yes? You want satisfaction. You want blessing. You want that feeling, the pleasures, real pleasures, not fleeting ones, but ones that endure, joy that endures. Those things don't come from the flesh. They don't come from the world system and from the kingdom of darkness. No, they come from God's kingdom. And hold that mentality, believer, so that when you see the flesh acting up, when you experience the sinful passions of the flesh, you count them as worthless. That's the right perspective to have, that's not something to be indulged in, because it's not going to produce what you really want. I mean, is there anybody among us who's like, I don't want any profit in my life. I don't want profit. No, we all think we want more, right? We want our bank accounts to increase. We want our joy to increase. We want our love to increase. We want good days to increase. Yes, we want profit. And Paul is redirecting. And as a believer, we should have that mindset as well. Redirected, that not all things edify. Even though I am the very righteousness of God, I will maintain the right perspective, that I want the fruit of the Spirit to flow and not the works of the flesh to be mastering me. Yes, to be over me as a slave driver. Real quick, let's pop on over to Romans chapter 6. Super great verse, one that I go back to over and over again. It's in chapter 6, verse 14, and it says, "For sin shall not be master over you." Okay, before we move on to the second part of that verse, notice sin can be master. Who wants to be a slave to their own emotions? Who wants to be a slave to their own passions, where they cannot act freely because they are driven about by the passions that are in them? It's not good, right? And when we don't have the, I guess you could say, the light turned on in this area, we think that we're going to find the satisfaction in those fleshly things. We think that we're going to find the joy that we're looking for in those fleshly things. But if the light is turned on and you see that those things don't produce what you're really looking for, what you're really looking for is a satisfaction that cannot be found in the passions of the flesh. What you're really looking for is a joy that endures, not happiness that comes and goes. Yes? Joy that bubbles up out of the Spirit of God that's in you. So we don't want that mastery from sin, even though we are the perfect, righteous one in the Lord. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let me encourage you to share this episode with the people in your life so they can get that nourishment of God's Word. And hey, did you know that Vita Ministry is a 5-minute excerpt taken from my main podcast, Your Daily Meds? You can hear more at yourdailymeds.org.